protector and provider, super.
Hey, what's up? It's Presley Tennant from The Voice, and you're watching The Michael Finkley Show on Roku and YouTube.
Dark and made it brighter. Wish it could be half that strong.
I will make it. If I can make it through the night, just to see a brighter side. 'Cause I've been working all my life just to make it. If I can make it through the night.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Michael Finkley Show. Thanks for joining us today. So as you know, COVID-19 has affected so many different avenues of life, and this is including the realm of education as well. So many students and teachers, everyone within higher education, public school systems have been affected. So what are educators doing to keep our students safe as they return back to school this academic year? Well, our panel today discuss these different things and much more. We have Dr. Lisa Justice, Dr. John Lesaine, and Mr. Joseph Brown with us as they talk about their respective levels of education and how they are assisting in getting our students the education they need safely, either in person or the virtual room as well. So more to come. Back in a moment. Coming up, our panel talks education. Back in a moment. Next, Michael Finkley. Child, more musical artists coming your way. Entertainer, singer, Q Grisby's with us. Rap artist Native Wells is here. Next, Finkley. Finkley Friday. School districts, organizations, nonprofits. Are you in search of a new promotional products company? Seegers Promotional Products is a Black-owned national company with over 780,000 products to choose from. Compared to other promotional products companies, they have the lowest prices in the industry. From pens, bags, shirts, they got you covered. They always remember that you are the customer and you come first. They always promise fast production and also fast delivery. With Seegers Promotional Products Company, you truly have the best. Check out their website at seegerspromotions.com and also on Facebook and LinkedIn. And tell them Finkley sent you.
She is flexible and she is a multitasker. She is a wife, a mom. She is city councilwoman.
When I was growing up, Mom worked outside the house, and so my dad was an entrepreneur. I saw him leaving early in the morning or late at nights to go meet with clients, and he was always one who told me, if you show up on time, you're late.
I just admire how she's able to not only juggle the demands of her jobs, but keep her family really first.
The outstanding thing about the Isaac family is their noble contributions to improving the quality of life for our Colombians and people all over this state.
I, Tamika Isaac, do solemnly swear.
Discharge the duties thereof, so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and best wishes.
I first ran because I saw a need, I saw a void that needed to be filled, a voice that wasn't there. And over the last several years, I feel like I've been able to be that voice.
So often as women in whatever spaces that we're in, we are often discounted because we're a mom or we're a wife or we have this career, and she's an everyday woman who shows women what excellence looks like.
She has walked the walk of being a small business person, of being a parent, of sending her kids to school.
Columbia is a great place, and we have done a lot in the last few years as far as law enforcement. But law enforcement can't do everything, nor should it do everything. We have to really expand upon the tools, technology, and community policing, investing in our communities so that law enforcement is a partner with our communities. Being a Columbia native, I've seen the way this city has grown. It's grown to the point that sometimes not everybody's been a part of that growth. I want to make sure that communities, specifically communities of color, make sure that they are part of Columbia's present and its future. I want to have a climate plan for this city that not only helps us be sustainable, but also helps provide opportunities for folks in the workforce. There are so many opportunities to take advantage of technology, green energy. I want to be the advocate for growing our city and being on the forefront, not just looking at what other cities are doing and following them, but being the leader.
If you don't have the right leadership, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities.
I think having a woman as mayor of the city of Columbia is long overdue.
I'm Tamika Isaac Devine, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Columbia.
Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. As you all know, during COVID-19, a lot of things have been influenced or changed during this time, during this pandemic, in almost 2 years that we've been talking about this and going through it. One of those things is education. And so today I decided to bring along these awesome persons in education to talk about these changes they have been experiencing as an educator and also the persons they serve each and every day, which are their students. Today we have public school administrator Joe Brown with us, Joseph Brown. Also, too, we have higher ed administrator Dr. John Lesaine, and also director of Career Center within the realm of career technology education, Dr. Lisa Justice. Thank you all for being with us today.
Thank you, Michael.
You're very welcome. And again, education has seen, I feel the biggest pivot, because again, we're dealing with the lives of our future within this pandemic. And like I said, almost 2 years. So kudos to you as educators in pivoting along this time of the pandemic. So let's get started. Let's start with Joseph. Many students are back on campus. So a little temperature check. How are your students doing?
They're doing well. It's an adjustment now because last year we were back on campus more like part-time, and this year is full-time. So we have about 300 kids on campus wearing masks, social distancing. Everyone's being safe as possible. So we're in full gear, and they're excited to see each other and the staff and students overall. And so far, we just finished up week number 4 on Friday. So we got interim reports last week, and so it's going well. It's going well as it can. We are doing well and adjusting, and parents are really excited about being in school, and so I'm excited also about being there. It's still different this year, students on campus, and so with COVID practices, it's so different. It's a new school year, but it's so much different than years past. So it's more so precautionary and still teaching the students, but overall, it's going well. It's just being precautious first of all. That's the biggest thing. Just being safe for the student and staff. That's the biggest thing. But overall, they're doing well.
So glad you said keeping them safe in that right. Dr. Lesaine, are you seeing the same thing?
Yes, Michael, we are seeing the same thing. Our students were so happy to get back on campus. With college students, it's very interesting because they love their freedom, and they don't want to be home. So they're always excited to come back to campus and to be around their friends, and and to come into class. For the most part, all's going well. Much like what Mr. Brown was saying, we require all of our students to be masked indoors, in the classroom, if they're in the cafeteria, as long as if they're eating, they don't have to be masked or talking, things of that nature. Outside, we do not require them to have masks on, but if numbers go up and we see a great infection rate on campus, we will require students and faculty and staff, anybody on campus, to be masked. But for the most part, everything is well. We've got no complaints. Our students have been compliant for the most part, although sometimes they want to gather in groups, and we tell them you cannot do that. We got to stay in our small groups. But for the most part, things are going well at Newberry.
Awesome. Lisa?
I would echo some of those same thoughts. Students were ecstatic to be back. We were happy to have them, because needless to say, career and technical education is meant to be hands-on. It's meant to be face-to-face. So it was great to have them here. We had a wonderful 2 weeks, and then we got thrown a curveball. We serve 2 local school districts here, and one of those districts, which was our main feeder, did decide to do temporary virtual instruction. So for the last 2 weeks, we had them here in person. Well, actually, it was the first 3 weeks. It was up until Labor Day. And then the last 2 weeks, we've been virtual, except for our cosmetology students, because they can't do that. But it's been a challenge to keep them motivated. When they first got back, it was great. We didn't have a lot of issues. We changed some protocols, routines, as far as student breaks, and we would do things that, we didn't really do anything as in large groups like we have in the past, similar to how we were last year. But then when virtual became sort of obvious that we were heading that direction, that becomes more and more daunting. Students get a little bit uncomfortable, they get anxious. So my teachers have worked hard to keep them motivated and to try to stay positive, and that is becoming a little bit of a struggle for even the adults in the building. So they will all be back face to face tomorrow. We could not be more excited, and we hope that that continues. We just need everybody to be as smart as possible. Our staff are required to wear masks because we are employees of Central Carolina Technical College here at FE DuBose. Our students, however, they're South Carolina K-12 public school students, and you know where that stands, unfortunately, right now. So I would say the vast majority are wearing masks, except when it's not safe, like in a welding shop. So we're getting a lot of cooperation, but we just can't require certain things like we could last year. So that's a little frustrating.
Right. I'm so glad you mentioned the mask. The mask conversation has been something across the country. Should we mandate? Should we not mandate? Some can, some cannot. Dr. Lesaine, you mentioned they're at your institution. Dr. Justice, you as well. Joseph, what are you seeing on your end when it comes down to masks for students and for faculty and staff?
Yeah, we're requiring students to wear masks. We have K through 5 wear masks throughout, unless they're eating, let's say, lunch or breakfast or drinking water, and outside still wearing masks. But it's required by the district until further notice. But it is a requirement daily, so we enforce that daily. Also, in terms of students and staff also wear masks. Visitors are limited to the front office area only. No visitors on campus, no campus tours. But if they're on campus, we're required to wear a mask. And not wear a mask for the students and for the staff or visitors who come on campus. But it's required throughout, for everyone, and that's non-negotiable. And it's a big sign at the front door saying masks are required for students and staff. And but so far we're compliant with wearing masks. Masks, we have them for you adult size, kid size. We have them for you from dismissal to early arrival. So we're there for them.
Awesome. So these things are already in play. We already had these conversations, and hopefully everyone, fingers crossed, are following through with these different protocols and procedures at each of your institutions. Dr. Lesaine, when it comes down to maybe going back virtual, do you all have a plan for this?
Yeah, we have a plan for it. We operate in what we would consider to be a high flex environment now anyway. So, and we actually do have some students who are technically full virtual students in Newberry. We've given students the opportunity. Last year, it was just one of those, if you requested it, we would allow you to go virtual. Now we've really tightened things up as far as who can go virtual and who has to be on campus. Our students have to have a good, legitimate health reason as to why they need to be a virtual student. So either they are susceptible to COVID, or they might be the caretakers for their parents or somebody who's susceptible to COVID. So we do have some students who are fully virtual, and our faculty and staff, or our faculty more so, we've been trained in how to actually take our classrooms the best that we can and flip it and go virtual at any moment, at any moment's notice if we have to. Now, like what Dr. Justice was saying, there's certain subjects that are just, they have to be hands-on. Like, so for instance, like with biology or chemistry, anything that's like a lab science, that's a little bit tough to make that virtual, because then your students have to do experiments at home and things of that nature. So we do have some protocols and some policies in place as far as that goes, but that's one thing we hope we don't have to go back to. And I would have to say this, we've had some faculty members at Newberry, including some faculty members who taught me, who decided to go ahead and retire because they're not very comfortable in teaching in the high flex environment. So that's one of those things that has come of us having to go high flex and possibly having to go back full virtual.
Good point there, Dr. Lesaine. What are you seeing on your end, Joseph?
On my end, we still required to be on campus full time. Virtual options are not available as of yet, but if kids do get sent home, we have packages sent home with students. Also, we do daily check-ins with the students virtually. But until this says otherwise, we still have to be on campus. And so some kids get sent home. They have packets for, let's say, a 10-day packet. We sit home for however long they need to sit home, and then we will check in with them daily, out of myself or teachers in general. But overall, we're still being on campus until further notice. And if there's someone in place, we'll be notified by our superintendent. But as of right now, we're still on campus.
Gotcha. Lisa, you mentioned that one of your schools in your district have already been virtual. They come back this week, actually. So are you all paying close attention? How are you paying close attention to these COVID numbers and trying to keep that, monitor that process?
Luckily, our school districts have been very transparent. They communicate that information to us regularly and to the public, honestly. But I go back and forth with the school nurses in the home high schools that we serve, and they are upfront about what the numbers look like in their area, but also any students who have possibly been exposed and have to quarantine. That's one of the challenges. We didn't deal with this quite as much last year. A, we didn't have as many students, but B, I mean, it's the Delta variant. We told our students the very first week, this is so much more contagious, and they are realizing it. They see it now because so many of them have had to go into quarantine because they've been exposed. And South Carolina, and especially in our area, Clarendon County, they've just been very vigilant about making sure that we follow DHEC protocols the way that we are supposed to.
Exactly. What about on your end, Joseph? What are you all seeing and how are you all maintaining this data?
The same thing with Dr. Justice said also. Both my days is basically spending time with attendants and the nurse and following protocols, make sure the students are okay overall being in school. And so with the send students home, we do send them home also for, let's say, 10 days, 10-day quarantine. Or monitor that from in the school year to the end of school. And that's the biggest thing, just monitoring the staff and students throughout. So when they're coming to also throughout and they're not feeling well, or they're running nose or cold, and seeing the nurse and helping out as much as we can with the nurse, because she has a big task ahead of her. And so there's only one nurse at our school. And so it's myself, my principal, and we're there for her and just help out as much as we can. And the parents have been very, very helpful in understanding if kids have to go home for however long, they understand. And so we are packing to home the students with them. But overall, we're just trying to be as safe as possible with the students and parents, and they understand. It's so different the school year. It's so hard to manage because you don't know what is what in terms of child's COVID, no COVID, because kids can't be vaccinated. So it's so hard to manage. And so it's a process. Every day is so different. Every hour is different from the time we get in, from the time we leave. And we track attendance with students from being in school, not being in school, they're being tested, not being tested for COVID or being illnesses. So we're seeing both of that, but it's been definitely, I would say, it's been hard. I must have been hard this year because it's been so much going on, along with instruction also, along with that. So safety first, then instruction also going forward. But that's been the bulk of our findings with our students and parents. But overall, they've been very helpful, understanding, and every day we get praise from our parents, and they just stay with all the time. We're like, yeah, we're doing the best we can. We don't want to see kids home, but we have to, we will, but we follow the guidelines, definitely.
I'm so glad you mentioned the point, Joseph, that it's a process, right? Nothing's perfect because it's new for everybody. What about the realm of higher education, John?
On the realm of higher education, we have a COVID dashboard that we keep our data on. So we try to be as transparent as we possibly can. Because, we do have some parents who really do worry about the kids, and they worry about how things are going on, on campus. So what our students have to do is, if they have COVID or if they've had close contact with somebody who has COVID, they have to submit what we call a self-isolation form. It goes to Health Services. Health Services sends it to my area, which is the Center for Student Success. And we handle sending out all notices to all professors and anybody else on campus as far as if a student has to be out of class and how long they have to be out of class for. So luckily our numbers haven't been that high at Newberry. We're starting to see a little bit of an uptick just because students are kind of, being a little bit lax as far as mask goes and as far as going off campus and gathering in large groups, as I mentioned before. But we try to be as transparent as we possibly can with the number of cases that we have on campus.
Good points there. Good points. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the future of education in your own words, from your perspectives. Back in a moment.
Next, what does our panel think about the future of education? They tell us this and more. Back in a moment.
This is your boy Kenny Lewis, and guess what? I'm here with my boy Michael Finkley on RokuTV and YouTube.
He'll always win. Why? Because he's undefeated.
Looking for a mentoring program for your young male between the age of 6 and 18 in Columbia, South Carolina? Well, look no further. Big Homie, Little Homie Mentoring Program is the program for you.
Under the leadership of Mr. Jamal Stroud, Big Homie, Little Homie is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that caters and mentors at-risk youth that come from single-parent homes. The organization caters to young males between the ages of 6 and 18 within the greater Columbia area. The organization is devoted to shaping and molding their life into great men of society. Big Homie, Little Homie organizes male gatherings, discussions, and even educational assistance devoted to guiding and leading them into a positive light. Making a positive attitude will help in transforming a life regardless of what is experienced in life. For more information on Big Homie, Little Homie Mentoring Program, visit our social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. We're still talking with our amazing panel on the future of education in their own perspectives. We have Joe Brown with us, we have Dr. Lisa Justice, and also Dr. John Lesaine. So each of you, let's start with Joseph. What do you think the future of education is going to be according to this outbreak?
I thought about this last week, and I don't know, because every day is so different. I hope it gets back to normal in a perfect world. Like I said earlier, within 2 years, it's changed so much. We're going from going to school full time to going virtual to going asynchronous learning. So I just don't know. Every day I see something different, and every school is different for kids who go home, not going home, staff, and education learning. But I think going forward, we're going to need some type of learning where kids have options of going virtual and being in school on campus, because I think it's not going to be the same again at all going forward, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But it's be an option because parents are not comfortable sending their kids to school at a young age, because our kids who can vaccinate who are ages 5 and up can't be. And so I think going forward, there's a plan in place somewhere along the line to have a virtual option for parents and for those students to go virtual. That way, I think going forward. For education, I'm not quite sure, but for us, it's going to be something in place for that on that lines. Because I just don't. It's just so different every day. I wish I could answer that question fully, but like I said, from Monday to Tuesday, it's different. Wednesday to Friday, it's kind of scary. So I don't know how it's going to affect us going forward.
I had a professor in college. He always said it depends, and it does. It really depends. What about you, Lisa?
I would agree with that to a certain extent. We're just in a live laboratory experiment. It almost seems like we're doing our own practitioner inquiry on a weekly, almost monthly basis at least. We just have a lot that we have to process. At the end of last year, we kind of got psyched out a little bit because we thought COVID was calming down. We had turned a corner and we weren't going to be back in these positions. So I did have one of my final meetings with my teachers was just, what did we like about this year? What do we want to keep, that we brought in during COVID that seems like a practice we should keep on doing? What do we want to trash? Because there were some things that happened last year that we have not brought back. We trashed that. And then what do we want to tweak? What are some of the practices what are we learning here? We've got to constantly ask those questions. That's difficult to do every single day, but like Joe said, we're kind of in that position. because things just don't seem to be the same. And we have to constantly use those favorite 2 words of all educators: monitor and adjust.
That needs to be on a shirt, front and back. That and pivot.
Pivot too, yes. I was trying not to use that when I heard it so much last year, but yeah. I mean, I would just give you an example. I haven't really brought back a full bell schedule in terms of a bell that rings, just because it still doesn't really work in our environment. And there are times where you have to have a bell, like if there's a dismissal, but I've been trying to stagger dismissal. When our students come in the mornings, we have just chosen which battles that we can fight, and being flexible, especially morning arrival. I'm not saying our kids aren't counted tardy, but there's a certain amount of time, we give some leeway. And I was so proud of my teachers that we were able to get over that we've got to allow our students to be human beings in this whole process. Just like we want them to allow us to be human beings and make mistakes and to learn and grow. We're trying to lead our students through that just as much. So maybe that's one of the things from COVID or from this whole pandemic experience I would keep, is that, we've got to keep an open mind, and it is a learning process for everybody, not just the students.
Exactly. You have to keep an open. It's imperative that you do have that open mind. John?
Well, I have to echo Joe and Lisa's sentiments. One thing that we talked about extensively at Newberry when we were preparing for this year, we called what we had to do the Great Pivot. And so with that, that's what we call it. We call it the Great Pivot because, we had just came off the spring break and we were in class for a week. And then all of a sudden we sent out an email telling our students, you guys are going home, faculty, staff, we're about to go through professional development for 3 days to flip our classes to an online setting. So yeah, it wasn't pretty, there just was no pretty, easy, beautiful way to do it. But the Great Pivot, we learned, the biggest thing we learned was about flexibility and adaptability. You have to be flexible. And from a higher ed perspective, you're starting to see a higher demand for online education, for online degrees. And not just from the standpoint of advanced degrees. Now you have people who are wanting to get a bachelor's degree, a 4-year degree, online totally. Yeah. And so, there's other schools who have done a great job of it. At Newberry, we're kind of lagging behind, no lie. And so, now we're creating a more robust online education program, not only for non-traditional students, because normally that's where our online programs are geared towards, we're non-traditional students, but also traditional college-age students as well. So, the demand for online higher education is growing and has grown and is going to continue to grow because people want that option now. And now with Zoom and Microsoft Teams and GoTo Web Conference, all those different platforms can be used now. We're going to start to see that that's going to happen a lot more now. You got some students who do want traditional face-to-face instruction. They want to be on campus. They want that on-campus experience. But we have plenty of the students now who, because we've had this virtual option, this online option, they're going to want this online option now more also.
Definitely. I gave 3 points last year. I brought this up on last year. We did a show on distance learning when it was the big thing, of course, when COVID first started. And one of the things I said was that if students want to pursue a career in education, I feel that now within any education program, they're going to have to include COVID or any pandemic training because we never know. So I definitely feel that's going to be a part of curriculum now when students are going through their educational studies at any institution when you're doing higher education. I really believe that. Joseph, you mentioned parents within one of your comments. How have parents been during this? Because when COVID first started, parents were like, I am not a teacher. I want my kids gone. So what has been their reaction?
Our parents have been great. They've been great also. And we do what we call like daily check-ins with the parents also. We call the parents and see how they're doing. And and make sure they're okay with sending the kids to school. And really show them we're doing the best we can with their babies. We had them from 7:10 a.m. until 2:20-ish p.m. And so they've been really great in terms of calling the school, sending things in to us also, and just comments, sending in cards and letters. But overall, they expressed their concerns also with us, and it would be very transparent with our parents and vice versa. And like I said, school year is so different, but they've been really, really great. I've been really happy that when I go to school every morning, our parents are supporting us, which is really good, because that's a big piece with us, parents support with us overall, because it's not easy for us also and with the kids. So 300+ kids in the school, and it's a possible to keep all the kids social distance the entire time, but we do the best we can, and they understand that, and they get it. But they've been great, and so I'm really happy with our parents with just phone calls and emails and texts and saying, I think what you're doing. We have our kids to be in school, our kids that have to be in school. So I think overall for me for the past year and a half so, they've been great with parents. They've been sending concerns. If I can't handle it, I would then find out the answer to them. But overall, I do with the parents. They've just been great. So I'm looking forward to the parents more. I just tell parents any questions, concerns, call me, email me. We can talk on the sidewalk, we can talk on the patio, we can talk social distance also, any concerns. So I understand what parents also. I have three kids of my own, so I get it. I definitely get it. But overall, I say I can't say that enough. They've been really great and just being transparent and honest. So just want to just vent to you also. You listen to them, and I get it. I want to vent also to people also, and I get it. But overall, just great conversations with them throughout the day, whether it's email, social media, those type of things.
Gotcha. Lisa, have parents been great?
For the most part, yeah. I have high school age students, so we don't get quite the amount of parent involvement, but for the most part, they've been very supportive. Even when we had to transition and do a little bit of virtual learning recently, I preach to our students, if you go home and don't submit any assignments during this time frame, we had it set up whether they had a device at home or not, that there was a way they could submit their work. If they didn't participate, that was going to hurt, and parents have been supportive of that for the most part. I know that our feeder high schools have received a little bit of pushback, the nurses, in terms of quarantining certain students. Parents are trying to understand the quarantining rules and what a close contact actually means in a school environment. I mean, like Joe said, we do the best we can with distancing. We have desk dividers and partitions that we have up. We do the best that we can. I think there's been a little bit of pushback with that. But other than that, I would say parents have mostly been supportive. They know that we're all doing the best that we can to get through this, and nobody is picking on anyone's child or anything like that. We're almost in survival mode, and trying to stay positive for sure.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Yeah, definitely all we can do. John?
Well, higher ed, of course, is different because the students are considered to be a little bit more autonomous, or they should be a little bit more autonomous.
Should be.
Should be. But for the most part, we haven't had a lot of, parents will call and they might ask a few questions. I think the biggest thing that we saw were parents wondering about residence halls and arrangements within residence halls. So I think that was one of the biggest things, because there was an uptick on the request for single rooms that we got at Newberry. And of course, we don't have a lot of single rooms. So, they were wondering about, well, how can we socially distance students in residence halls? And the way that the furniture in the room is set up that students can be socially distanced. So it's the way that the beds are kind of like on opposite sides of the room. There's like a barrier kind of like there in the middle. And so the students were told, you cannot move the furniture around. The furniture has to stay the way that it is, because it is designed for the students to be socially distanced. So I think that was the biggest thing that we saw from parents. They've been pretty supportive. One thing that we required of our students, if they were vaccinated, we required them to provide proof of the vaccination. If not, at least 5 days prior to coming to campus, they had to get a COVID test and give us proof of a negative COVID test. So parents are pretty good about helping students to make sure that they got us that information in a timely fashion.
Gotcha. John, is that something that the college is looking forward to doing and investing in the future, more single room dormitories?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the trend that we're seeing in higher ed, as far as residence life actually goes, students actually want more. They want their space is what they want. And so then remember talk with our president about this. We're probably going to break ground on a new residence hall probably in the spring. And chances are the way that residence hall is going to be set up is going to be suite style, and everybody's going to have their own room. They'll share a bathroom within the suite, but everybody will have their own single living space. So yeah, that is the trend that we're seeing in higher education, going from traditional communal style baths and rooms where you got sometimes 2 or 3 people in them, now to everybody has their own separate living space, and then maybe 4 rooms might share a bathroom.
Gotcha. Awesome. I'm so excited to hear that colleges now are looking more into that even more so to meet the need, because students want to be on campus. They want to still experience that college life. So glad to hear that.
Correct.
Lisa, when dealing with career technology education, I'm a lover of it. When it comes down to that, there's some things that students can't do at home. So how are you accommodating students for that? Are you offering more sections or social distancing more? How is that working for you?
I'm going to wave my hand up real quick and get my light to come back on. I know you thought that was weird, but that's just the way things are in my office. We are doing the best that we can with that. We still have students going in our shops, and those are very well ventilated. I actually purchased air purification systems for each of our classrooms here to make sure that we accommodated that way. We try to give the students the most hands-on experiences that we can. Last year, we ended up having a lot of students that were actually able to do their work experiences because we had employers that cooperated with us, and we continued those things. Our health science students had 100% completion rate on our CNA exams because they were able to do a simulated clinical here on our campus. So that worked out really well. 100% pass rate in cosmetology as well. If you think about that, that's pretty good to do that during the midst of a pandemic. As far as some of our other more hands-on classes like culinary, welding, automotive, carpentry, we did the absolute best that we could at getting our students out during that last part of their senior year or their second year with us. We had lots of local employers who cooperated. A lot of culinary students ended up with their jobs that they had anyway, because a lot of high school students worked through most of last year in virtual instruction. So we were able to take advantage of those opportunities. Our law enforcement students were able to get out into some of the law enforcement agencies here in our area because they were willing to follow some of the COVID protocols that we had in place. So cooperation has been the biggest thing. We've had a few students who have started work experience already this year. I have a few early childhood students who are already out in locations, believe it or not, because it just something that seemed to happen kind of naturally. So with a lot of collaboration and cooperation, we are still able to provide a lot of those experiences. I wouldn't say all that we've done in years prior to COVID, but we've tried to maintain because the most important aspects of CTE are definitely those hands-on, relevant, real-life experiences, and getting our kids out there has been a priority for us.
Awesome. Again, I love the pivot, right?
There we go.
I just throw that out there. I love the pivot. So we've all heard the negative side of COVID and the effects therein. But Joe, what kind of advice can you give to students and parents and colleagues alike, encouraging words during this time?
One of the things I tell my parents and my teachers and my students every day, for one, I call it mental fitness. Please take care of yourself also. So when you leave work also, do something that doesn't involve education. Go out, go for a run, go for a walk. My teachers, I tell them the same thing. My students, I tell them to go outside in the yard and play also, and do your best. And news is great to a certain extent also, but again, it's on all the time. Just be mindful of what you're watching, because we're in this daily also. Get a mental break from it, and we're here for you throughout. I visit every classroom every morning, Monday through Friday before class starts, that we're doing teachers, students, and staff also, and tell them just to take a break from it also. And we're here. It's going to get better, but it's going to take time. So just do your best also. Stay vigilant, stay positive for one, And just be mindful, but again, just take those breaks that you need. I mean, every single day, because you're gonna need those breaks throughout. And teach the same thing, need breaks, call me. Or just do whatever you can outside of school because it's there. That's the biggest thing to my students who can't do anything else. I'm like, go outside, run around, play with your siblings on the backyard. Of course, do homework obviously, but just be mindful of those things and just do your best and don't worry so much at all because we're in school, we're here with you together, virtually and in person. We're with you. Just do your best and really just stay positive. We're here for you. I mean, we all going through it. We're parents, we have kids also, so we understand the struggles, whether you have a fifth grader or you have a 12th grader. We understand the struggles, how it goes with students overall. So we just tell everyone to just be safe and just stay positive. That's the biggest thing you can do. And any questions, ask us. Let us know what we can do to help you and talk to us because I can't read your mind. So let us know what's going on in your head and whether you're a kindergartner or you're a fifth grader. I can talk to you either way or teach you the same thing. You need a break. Come vent. Don't talk to me. I just want to have a conversation with you. That's the biggest thing. But take that break. I do this daily also. I leave work every day. I take a break. I go for a run. I go walking every single day because I have to because it's so taxing throughout from 7:10 a.m. to let's say 3:30, 2:30 p.m. It's so taxing. Take those mental breaks. You'll need them. Trust me.
Self-care is the best care. That's what I say. It really is. And I was hoping you were going to mention it, Joe. But I'm like, he practiced what he preaches. He's running. He's biking. So he's taking care of himself. I'm so glad you said that, Dr. Lesaine.
I would have to say my word of encouragement, a couple of things. First and foremost, be grateful for every opportunity that we get. Every day is a new day. It's a new opportunity to do something great. So take advantage of every single opportunity that we get. And the other thing I would say is that COVID has taught us that there is no box anymore. Now, I know you want to know what I mean by that. The proverbial box, So we always tell our students, you got to think outside the box. And COVID has really taught us that there is no box anymore. We can't box ourselves in anymore. So, we become creative. And I think that with that, we can continue with this level of creativity that it has kind of forced us to kind of come out of our shell and forced us to kind of, really definitely think and operate outside of the box. So, I think, we have to continue to think and operate outside of the box. Just be creative.
I'm so glad you said that because we are thinking outside the box now in the education period. We're doing things that we thought we would never, ever, ever do. So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Lisa, finally, Lisa.
Well, and Michael, I know you're very familiar with my some of my catchphrases that I use here at FE DuBose. One of them being education with a purpose. I still focus on that, but I've done something this year. I brought in a read. It's kind of sitting behind me. I've helped my teachers walk through Simon Sinek's Start With Why, and we're working on Find With Why this year. And I'm planting some of those seeds with our students. Figure out why you're here and dig deep for the meaning of what's happening right now. There's all these distractions, all this stuff going on. You've got to learn to put that in the box and you be out of the box so that you can find what is most meaningful for you and pursue that, because we know that our students come here and enroll in our programs because this is something that they're considering doing in the future, but also it gives them such a deep meaning and such a deep purpose. So I wanted to capitalize on that a little bit and sort of guide our students through. This is an unfortunate thing that's happening to us on the outside, but let us give you the skills to problem solve and figure out how to get through it or do the best, not just doing the best that we can, because that's all we're doing, but also let's put some things in place for when you face future challenges. And I think finding out the meaning and figuring out why you're doing what you're doing is a big part of that.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Words to live by from each of you. We want to say thank you for what you do in the field of education and being there for our students and also just being there for yourselves. We really appreciate you. Again, thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, John, for being with us today.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Absolutely. My pleasure.
You are very welcome. Y'all back in a moment.
What's up, everybody? This is gospel recording artist James E. Finley, and you are watching the Michael Finkley Show right here on YouTube and RokuTV via the Greater Works Network.
Calling all Trio, Gear Up, JAG, and other college readiness organizations. Hello everybody, it's Finkley with the Finkley Experience. I am here to offer you information about our College Readiness Cohort Series.
This College Readiness Series includes college applications, SAT, ACT prep, scholarships, financial aid, the mental mind state, HBCU versus PWI versus technical colleges, and so much more.
You know, this is helpful because it's actually like making me change my college plan.
Really? If interested, visit our website, thefinkleyexperience.com, or just email us at michael@thefinkleyexperience.com. We're looking forward to working with you. Keeping your skin flawless and clean is important, and I have the products just for you. Welcome to Mimi's Natural Pantry, where she specializes in homemade handcrafts, including lye and goat milk soaps, body butters, and sugar scrubs. All items are handmade products. All items have simple ingredients and are vegan friendly. In a world where you can barely pronounce many of the ingredients in your everyday products, Mimi's Back to Nature offers an alternative choice for those who are ready to get back into nature. Ready to order? Visit their website at mimisnaturalpantry.com. All orders over $50 have free shipping up to 25 pounds.
What's up, man? So if it's something that I want you to do, I want you to stop comparing your life to others and stop looking at what other people got and appreciate what you got. I'm always big on being positive. So if you want to start being positive, first thing first is be grateful for what you have. Stop comparing your life to what other people have and look at what somebody else have and say, ooh, I want that. Instead, look in your life, see what's in your life that you're grateful for, see what's in your life that you're happy for. Then if it's something that you don't like, replace it or make it better. There's always room for growth, there's always room for improvement. But the moment that you compare your life to somebody else be the moment that you steal your own joy. The moment that you be so blinded that you can't even see the good that's happening in your own life. Don't compare your life to these social media celebrities or just other people in general, or don't even compare your relationship to these other people that's going on. You don't really even know what's going on behind closed doors. Just focus on what's in front of you. Focus on what you have. Appreciate it. And if you want more, go get more. That's as simple as that, you know what I'm saying? At all times, oftentimes you want to, I know you want more and you desire. Ain't nothing wrong with being inspired by somebody else. Ain't nothing wrong with being motivated by somebody else. It may be something that somebody else had that you want and you say, hey, I want that. But never ever let somebody else bring you down off of a comparison of somebody else's. Only appreciate yours. Be positive, you know what I'm saying? Love what you have, because you won't be satisfied until you learn how to love what you have. It don't matter if you have a little or a lot. The moment that you decide that I'm going to be grateful for what I have in life, no matter what it is, the moment that you decide that I'm going to be grateful for this relationship that I have, no matter what kind of relationship it is, that's when you find real joy. Again, comparison is the thief of all joy. Don't let you compare your life to other people's life and steal your joy and make you blindsided to what's really going on in your life and the good things that's going on in your life. Appreciate those things, put a spotlight on it, and if you want more, go get more.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Bill Whitehouse Jr. with Dan Chef Now Talk, and you're watching the Michael Finkley Show on RokuTV and YouTube, baby.
School districts, organizations, nonprofits, are you in search of a new promotional products company?
Seegers Promotional Products is a Black-owned national company with over 780,000 products to choose from. Compared to other promotional products companies, they have the lowest prices in the industry. From pens, bags, shirts, they got you covered. They always remember that you are the customer and you come first. They always promise fast production and also fast delivery. With Seegers Promotional Products Company, you truly have the best. Check out their website at seegerspromotions.com and also on Facebook and LinkedIn.
And tell them Finkley sent you.
Next, Michael Finkley.
Child, more musical artists coming your way.
Entertainer, singer, Q Grisby's with us. Rap artist Native Wells is here.
Next, Finkley.
Finkley Friday.
Everybody, welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. I hope that you learned something from our panel today as they talk about education during COVID-19. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Brown. Thank you so much, Dr. Lisa Justice, and also Dr. John Lesaine. We appreciate you. On Fridays, Finkley, more musical artists coming your way. You know I love music, so we're going to talk about and bring on some music people. I love it, I love it, I love it. We have artist Native Wells with us and also Q Grisby with us, so don't you go away. We have to watch this show. Please subscribe to the Michael Finkley Show on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button. I promise you we have awesome content, y'all. Please watch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And for more information about what we do here on the Michael Finkley Show, visit our website, michaelfinkley.com. RokuTV, yeah, I know you got one. So add the Greater Works Network to it. You can watch the Michael Finkley Show every Monday and Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on, or on demand. Thank you so much for watching, and guess what? We'll see you next time. Have a good one.